Welcome to the NICU Today Podcast, a podcast to give families a new point of support as they navigate the NICU journey. Thank you for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe wherever you enjoy your podcast and share this episode with anyone who might find it helpful. We are back with the NICU Today Podcast. Chloe Ciferri is the co-founder and executive director of the national nonprofit, the Adalyn Rose Foundation. The Adalyn Rose Foundation provides comprehensive and continuous care to families who lose a child at any point during pregnancy, infancy, or early childhood. Chloe and her husband, Adam, lost their daughter, Addie, during pregnancy in 2017. They launched the nonprofit on Adalyn's second birthday, and Chloe resigned from her teaching career to serve as the organization's executive director. Chloe has 3 living children, TJ, Enzo, and Elle, and we are thrilled to have you here with us today on the NICU Today podcast. Welcome, Chloe.
Hi, thank you, Martha. Thanks for having me.
Yes, well, I know I shared a little bit about your family's journey, but tell us about your family. Tell us about Addie.
Yeah, so Addie is our firstborn. She was born shortly after our first year of marriage. And unfortunately, she was born still. And we had our complete, our world was shaken and turned upside down when we had an extremely healthy, perfect pregnancy that became very unhealthy and ultimately ended in Adalyn being stillborn after what we thought was a great pregnancy. We found out that Adalyn and I both had listeria, which is a very rare bacterial infection that, you're warned about in pregnancy, and that is very rare, but if contracted during pregnancy can be fatal to baby and mom. And it was the craziest experience, most heartbreaking experience. Like I said, I was completely healthy and Adalyn was completely healthy until one day during my second trimester, I got extremely sick and couldn't keep food down, spiked incredibly high and dangerous fevers, and ended up going into the hospital and was admitted. Adalyn still had a heartbeat. She was fighting. And we thought, she was our first baby. So I think we were extremely, ignorant as as many people are during their first pregnancy. And I thought that she would be okay. I thought we would leave. But as a few days went on in the hospital, we found out that her heart had stopped beating and that she had died. And that evening, after finding that out, I went into labor naturally. It was a few hours after she was born, and we had time together that our infectious disease doctor came in and said that, the results had finally come back and we had tested positive for listeria. So it was a whirlwind and completely heartbreaking. But with all of the sadness and grief, there's also so much beauty in Adalyn, and she continues to bring light to the world even after she passed. And we always say, she has given us so many gifts, so many different gifts, whether it's her siblings who we feel that she brought to us, or the way we choose to live our life with giving back to other people and helping, making family a priority always, different things that she gave us from her short time here. So that's Adalyn, and I miss her every day.
Yes, I as we have shared, I'm a fellow lost mom, and we miss our children every day that we have lost. I wanted to ask you, you talk about your living children, and how do you all celebrate Adalyn as a family? How do you talk about her to your living children, and how is she a part of your family in that way?
So she is very a part of truly every day, even, the mundane kind of normal days. Some days, like one of my living children will randomly bring her up. My one son is super into art right now. He just turned 6. And pretty much every piece of art he does, he writes all of our family, all of our names, Daddy, Mommy, TJ, Elle, Enzo, and he always includes Addie. And typically, they're very involved. We run a nonprofit now in her name, and we have an office here. And throughout the office, there's different pieces of Enzo's artwork that he's drawn, our logo, our heart halo. He draws pictures. So those are more just on the daily kind of everyday things we include her and we talk about her. We have her Addie Bear, things like that. But then also, every year we have traditions that involve her. So the kiddos know that on her birthday, we usually always do something fun. This year we went to a local amusement park and we called it our Addie Day. And she would have been turning 7. So we just did everything that we thought she would have loved to do. Got the ice cream, the funnel cake, went on all the rides, and I loved my oldest son included Addie when we were talking to another couple and another family in line for one of the roller coasters. He said, it's my sister's birthday. She's in heaven. She's not here, but it's her birthday today. And, just that they feel comfortable is really important for us. So we do traditional things, and we participate in our empty stroller, run and walk, different things like that as well. So little things on the regular, and then also big traditions that make us feel close to her.
I love hearing all of this. And I do think that sometimes it's hard, right? I think adults have trouble figuring out the way they answer the question if they have a child who has passed. I've seen that just with families that I've spoken with over the years. And I feel like you and I are similar. We talk about our stories every day, obviously, and in the organizations that we founded, but it is finding that comfort and encouraging that comfort with our kids, because it's hard when they go to school, or how many siblings do you have, and answering all of those different questions, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing about your family story with Adalyn. Now, you all founded the Adalyn Rose Foundation. I want to hear about your events, especially the Empty Stroller event that you host annually. When you look back on your own experience of losing Adalyn, and you founded the organization, what were some of the initiatives that were important for you to make sure that other families had during that difficult time?
That's such a good question, because that is truly at the core, along with wanting to honor our daughter and other children. That is at the core of so many of the decisions we make and the programs and events we host, because what was it that would have really helped us during that really difficult, especially that first year? Like, what were we missing? Why did we want to start something? And so, being able to host events that give the space and opportunity for families throughout the country to show up, honor, and talk about their child, that's why we do this. People deserve that. They deserve an opportunity. For our living children, they have these things all the time. We have school events, we have sporting events, we have things all the time for them. And so our children who have passed deserve that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some of the programs and resources available through your foundation?
So we started with providing memorial expenses. So helping families who lose a baby pay for the cremation, funeral, casket, urn, anything like that. My sister-in-law, Laura, went to the funeral home with my husband because I was so sick in the hospital. And when he went to pay, it was a $300 bill. He went to pay, and she literally put her hand on top of his and said, no way. Like, I am doing this for you. I want to honor my niece. You guys are going through enough. And so she paid for Adalyn's cremation and urn. And that made such an impact on my husband and I that he came back to the hospital to be with me. And he literally pushed his hospital couch up to my hospital bed. We laid there and cried. And he told me this. And he said, this is something that has impacted us so deeply. And when we're ready, I want to do something to pay it forward like my sister did. I want to help other families. So that was kind of the seed of, all of our other programs and actually launching the foundation. But that is the first thing we do. So we actually will pay for any baby that passes during pregnancy, infancy, and through age 5, and who live in Pennsylvania. So we coordinate at this point. We've assisted with over 400 funeral and cremation expenses, over $140,000. So we give back. That's a very important thing for us, because not just because no one should have to, bury their child and then go on a payment plan or pay for that, but also it immediately lets families know that their baby matters to us. That the baby matters to so many people, and that they're not alone in this. So that's our first program we ever began. That's how we started. Our first year, we helped 20 families, and it's just grown. So we'll continue to do that. But then we also have our hospital partnerships, and we're partnered with 30 hospitals throughout Pennsylvania. We're also in Delaware and Maryland and New Jersey, and we are headed to Florida actually in 2 weeks to start our partnership with a hospital there. So what we do with our hospital partners is we provide training to all of them for free. It's sponsored by a family who has lost a baby. So we provide that training so they don't have to pay for that. And then also with that comes our remembrance cards. So I would definitely suggest viewers check out our social media, our Facebook, because it gives a good image of what our remembrance cards are. But really, this program came to be after support groups and hearing how so many of us that lost a child have regrets. And I know, Martha, you and I have spoke about that a lot. How when you've lost a baby for the first time, hopefully that's it, right? We know that's not always the case. But when you lose a baby and you've never, first off, when Addie died, I didn't even lose a grandparent at that time. So my understanding of death and of grief and honoring loved ones after they passed, it was non-existent, to be honest with you. And so when it came to my daughter, I had no idea what I would want to do with her during the time that she was with me earthside, because no one talks about that. You don't, you read books like what to do when you're expecting and when the baby's here, but like no one is prepared for when their baby dies. What do we do?
And can I ask you, did you have regrets after she was born? I
Yes.
know you and I have talked about this. I'll share
Yes.
mine too, but what were if you don't mind sharing, what were some of the regrets that you had?
No, I have chills right now, because this is no one should feel alone in that, because it's not your fault if you do have regrets. But we had a lot of regrets, just as those people. We had, I think probably it was like 10 couples, but 20 of us in this support group that were like, we all had regrets. Mm-hmm. We all, and that's why we decided to change and implement the remembrance cards. But some of my regrets are, I truly didn't even look. Like, I looked at Adalyn, but I wish I would have just truly looked at her fingers and her toes and her little body. I felt so out of it, I guess. I mean, I was super sick, but I just feel I wasn't prepared, and I wasn't I wasn't given the guidance that we train our partners to give, because I tell a lot of our partners, listen, it's like a puppet. These parents are truly just like skeletons at that point. They have nothing in them, and you need to truly carry them through this and almost lift their hands and help them and facilitate these memory making activities, because in the moment they're not necessarily there, but they'll want to look back on these things. I wish I could look back and say, I read Adalyn a book and now her siblings have this book. I will say I am so grateful we did take photos. I didn't want to do that. I didn't feel comfortable. I thought people are going to think I'm nuts, but my nurse did say, Chloe, I want you to take photos. If you never want to look at them, that's fine, but I need you to have these. And I listened to her. And so I wish there would have been more of that. I wish, I would have sat in a rocking chair and rocked my daughter, sang her a song, taken videos and photos on my own phone. I wish I would have had, one of our biggest regrets was we had no one come in. We had our family there. They were in the waiting room. But I was just so scared. I didn't want them to see me in the state that I was, just so absolutely hysterical and devastated. I didn't want anyone to, I just didn't want, we kept it very close. And I also didn't think that I didn't know if it was okay. So I wish that was one of mine and Adam's biggest regrets, was not letting any of our family come in and hold Addie too, because they were there, they wanted to, and we just said no. So that's definitely a regret too. What about you, Martha?
Well, I think, and we have to forgive ourselves through
Yes.
those times. And
Yes.
we've lost two of our children 8 years apart. The first time around, our girls were born, our twins were born so prematurely at 23 weeks and 5 days. And it was at a time where they didn't push for kangaroo care right away.
Mhm.
Nowadays, it's more, put the baby on the chest, hold the baby right away. Then we didn't hold Claire for almost 4 weeks after she was born, our surviving twin. So Mary, we hadn't held either. They both were hovering right around a pound. And Mary had started to go downhill, was our stronger twin. She passed away the Sunday after Thanksgiving. We had one of our dear nurse friends say to us, "Do you want to hold her kangaroo care?" And we didn't know any better. And we said no. And we only held her in a blanket. We held her as she took her last breath. We did not do kangaroo care. It was the biggest regret I've ever had. It made me, for years, I'm getting a little choked up right now. It made me cry every time I thought about it. Just that intimate kind of time spent, right?
I know.
And when our son William, who passed away in 2018, he had trisomy 18. We knew that he was going to pass away after he was born, and we planned for it with the incredible team at our hospital. And they said, "What do you want? Do you want the family pet to come in? Do you want him to taste chocolate? Do you want him to go outside? Do you want your family there? How many family? Do you want him baptized?" All of those different things that we got to choose for William, which I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but we did take the time to look at what was important to us. And guess what it was, Chloe?
What?
Kangaroo care. We held William as soon as he was born. My husband held him first when he was delivered. It was the only time he had his eyes open briefly. And then I got to hold him for hours. And the girls got to meet him, and we read books, and we did memory making, and they dressed him in a Today is a Good Day preemie shirt, and all of those different memories that you're making me cry on the podcast episode today, Chloe.
Listen, it's okay. Gosh, what beautiful heartbreak. It's all of the feelings.
It is
heartbreaking and devastating, but also beautiful memories. And I say that a lot.
Yes,
my time I never want the conversation around Adalyn or our foundation or the work to be so sad and negative. However, yes, it is, but it's also so beautiful. It is so beautiful because they are your children, and they are always your children, even though they're not here. And with him, what beautiful memories. And I'm sure just so many emotions feeling, just so many emotions.
But yes, it was a lot. Going back to what you said though about school and about your son writing on the artwork, I'll never forget a big moment. Martha Rose, our 9-year-old, I think she was in first grade, and they had done an activity learning about, tell us about you. And it said, how many people are in your family? And she put 6.
Yep.
For all of the siblings and Paul and me. But it is those moments that are so meaningful. So when you look back at your journey, what advice do you have for other families that might be going through this today?
I would say if you're probably not in the hospital listening to this, but if you're listening to this and ever, God forbid, end up losing a child, I would just say to really take time to think about what you want to do and what's important to you. Is it holding your baby close and spending time like that? Is it dressing them, bathing them? I wish we would have done all of that. So certainly really take the time. And then after, leaving the hospital, probably when more people are listening to this, find a community that you can relate to other people. That is what we were missing. You asked Martha at the very beginning, what were we missing and why did we start this? The community is everything. Find community. Even if it's one other parent who understands navigating life after loss, find that person. And I'll make it even easier for you to find it. If you go to our website, we do have a program where we match families throughout the country who have had a similar loss. So if you are a NICU lost parent, or if you're a child lost parent, or you've had a miscarriage and you're a miscarriage mama or dad, we will connect you with someone else. So you don't have to necessarily find them on your own, but also get in support groups, go to different events. It's hard. I remember my first event after loss, and it is so hard it's like your anxiety, you're scared. Am I going to just break down and cry? Is it going to be so sad? Try to find someone to go with you, whether it's your partner or family, and get out to those events when you're ready, because you will feel so much better when you have space and a safe place to honor your child and to talk about them.
I love that. Thank you so much for that advice. Give us your website. How can listeners learn more about your services and if they could apply for support from you?
Yeah, super simple. AdalynRose.org is our website. We're very active on social media at Adalyn Rose Foundation. And then if you are currently, you are looking for support, we literally have a tab right on our website that says, I lost my baby, and you can submit that. And our team will be in touch with you. And if you're NPA and need assistance with funeral or cremation expenses, or just want to get involved and come to a support group, we also assist families with getting into therapy after loss, and then we pay for that therapy as well. So
unbelievable. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's because of incredible people and a lot of lost parents that know the support's needed, that help donate, and we're able to do what we do. And throughout, if this is something that posts before the end of October, we do have our empty stroller run and walk that is virtual. So you can check that out. Go decorate a stroller and get out into the community and do a 5K or 10K or a 1 mile walk to honor your baby.
Well, I was going to ask you, the empty stroller walk and run that you do, hosted every year in October?
Yes. Yep.
Yes,
so if you
wonderful.
missed it this year, can't make it, we will do it again next year. This year we had, I believe we're at 20 states, people throughout 20 states throughout the United States participating, and over 1,300 people. So, it's a beautiful sentiment to say our babies aren't here. They're not in their strollers, but they matter, and we remember them.
Oh, thank you for what you're doing to help so many. Really incredible work.
Right back at you, Martha.
Oh.
You are amazing.
Oh, anything else you want to share?
No, thank you for the work you're doing. Anyone that's in need of support, obviously, Martha's a great resource, and feel free to reach out to us as well.
And we're all in this together, Chloe. We're helping families the best that we can, right? So thanks for your incredible work. So glad our paths crossed, and appreciate you being on the NICU Today podcast.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to the NICU Today podcast, brought to you by Today is a Good Day. Learn more at todayisagoodday.org.